Sunrise on a beautiful South African spring morning. Everything a blur from a proper hard party. We arrive at some high-rolling nightclub owner's house, and all I can remember are big glass windows and sitting on a sofa in front of a massive glass table. A huge pile of Coke on my left-hand side, and on the other, an equally huge pile of cat. It was just then I realized I need to stop this or I'm going to die soon. The party carries on until the early hours of Monday morning, and I wake later that day absolutely shattered. But I knew I was done. I could start building my new life, one day at a time. A week or so later, I was sitting in the restaurant with a client that I was working in, and I met Chantal, who said to me, "Here's my number. Call me, baby."
Boxing Day, 10 months before I met my wonderful husband, I was involved in a car accident that changed my life forever. Have you ever met anybody that dislocated their spine? No. Well, after today, you have. It was broad daylight. I was a passenger in a friend's car when we swerved away from oncoming traffic and hit the only tree on the sidewalk. After the impact, I tried moving my legs, but I couldn't. I tried touching my toes, but I didn't feel anything. In that moment, I knew something was seriously wrong. I dislocated my spine, my vertebrae splintered, my lung collapsed. I had to be resuscitated twice. I fought for my life. After numerous surgeries and living in constant pain, I'm what the world calls disabled. My entire world collapsed. Luckily, I have an amazing support bubble. I still remember thinking clearly, like, out of everybody I know, rather me than why me. In hindsight, that was the defining moment, the first of many such moments to follow. I lost my job. I was told I'd never walk again or have a baby. But I've never shied away from a challenge. So with pure determination and no feeling from a waist down, I managed to build a new career and walk down the aisle on our wedding day. My family grew in an instant with Rob and his 3 amazing children, Josh, Justine, and Danica. Soon after, we had Scarlett, who is a little firecracker, and I said to Rob, "Let's have another one."
This is not a good idea, I say. To this day, I don't let her live it down. Sometime in January 2015, I got out the shower and I went across. I said, "Geez, my nipples are sensitive." Out of this, she gets, "I think we need a pregnancy test." A little strange, I think, but off I go and get one. And boom, we're pregnant. Chantal's gynae's away, so we book in with another chap, and he confirms we're expecting. I, for some reason, ask him, "Can you tell us if it's twins or not?" Just something deep down knew. He firmly assures me there's only one baby. So at our following appointment with Chantal's gynae, he's busy doing his sonar thing. He looks over and asks, "Do you guys have twins in the family?" 2 heartbeats, you're having twins. Sometimes you just know. At our next appointment, he's again doing his sonar thing when he looks across and he goes, "There's another heartbeat." "There's 3 babies." I reply, "Doc, it's April 10th, not April 1st. He looks over at me and he sternly replies, "I don't joke about these things." "Are you sure there's not another one in there?" becomes the standing question at every single appointment after that.
Well, soon after, my mom came and visited. The boys were born that night, and my mom still said, "It looks like you're ready to pop." Moms always know. Because of my spinal cord injury, I don't know when I self-catheterize, and I don't know when I need to go to the loo. So that night, I wet the bed 3 times, and I felt embarrassed that Rob had to change the bedding again. So I decided to wear a nappy. And I still remember thinking, yes, now I don't have to wake up for the rest of the night. The next morning, I woke up absolutely exhausted. And I thought, when Rob gets home from work, he can take me to the hospital. So I went into our in-suite bathroom and to go and have a shower. I held onto the windowsill and I pulled myself up. I took the nappy off, and nothing prepared me for what happened next. Gabriel was in the nappy already. I was hysterical. I was calling, Scarlett was only 3 at the time, and she was staring at me while I was calling Josh, who was only 13 at the time, to come and help. Josh ran in, made a U-turn, and ran out and shouted, "I don't want to be a doctor." Just then, I knew that I had to take a breath. So I took a breath, and I called Josh back calmly, and I asked him to hold the nappy with Gabriel in it. As I put my hand down there and I took it away, it was like a pipe that burst, and Bradley slid across the ice-cold floor. Josh was shouting, "He's hanging from his umbilical cord." It was Daniel hanging upside down from his umbilical cord with his head on my footplate. My legs started shaking. I had to sit down. I don't know how I managed to do so, but I sat on the floor and Josh passed me the babies to keep warm. Next was to get the help we needed to survive. I said to Josh, "Call 082-911, to which he replied, "This is not America." And he called the General Emergency Services, who could not find my address. So eventually I said to him, "Put down the phone Dad and my parents who only stayed 10 minutes away."
My phone was on silent because I was working. Something made me take it out and look, and it was my wife calling. "Hello, my love." But it wasn't my wife. It was my son, Josh. "Dad, the boys are here." "No way. It's too early, my boy." No, Dad, the boys are here." I could hear by the sound of his voice, I had to get home ASAP. I managed to call an ambulance, Chantal's parents, and get home in under 5 minutes. I'm running down the passage. The first thing I see is my daughter Scarlett standing outside our bathroom, wide-eyed like that, looking a little scared, thinking back. I asked Josh, so I walk into the bathroom, I asked Josh to put the movie on for Scarlett and then move on to my wife. It was an absolute gruesome sight, standing there, looking at my wife, sitting on the floor, holding the babies in a bloody mess of after childbirth all around her. I quickly give Bradley to Josh and I ask him to hold him close, breathe over him. And then by that time, Chantal's dad had arrived. I quickly ask him, "Take Bradley, Josh and Scarlett, get down to the hospital. We'll be there as quick as possible." I now start to think, I need to get Chantal and the babies to hospital. This ambulance is taking forever. But what happens if I move her and everything just falls out?
So eventually, I was sitting outside in a sunny but cold winter's day in South Africa, waiting for the ambulance to fetch me. My brother and his now wife arrived and also waited for the ambulance, making awkward conversation. The paramedic arrived, also waiting for the ambulance, and I said to him, "My stomach is sore," to which he replied, "Don't worry, the doctor will have a look at it when you get to hospital." 2 hours later, I arrived at hospital. I felt like a celebrity. There was a tunnel of family and friends waiting for me. They pushed me into the examination room. The nurse put a silver kidney bowl between my legs. The doctor felt my tummy and said, "There's another baby." To which I replied, "Absolutely no way. I had my triplets at home." He asked me to push, but I can't do it because I don't have the stomach muscles to do so. So he pushed on my stomach and whoops, just then, Harvey, our hide-and-seek champion, fell into the kidney bowl. My heart sank as he was blue and I thought he did not survive.
While Chantal's busy getting checked out, I decided to do the admin for her and our newly formed trio of trouble. Sitting in the hospital reception, I'm thinking to myself, these boys don't have names yet. What do I write on these forms? Baby 1, baby 2, Emery baby 1, Emery baby 2. And how are we going to know which one is 1, 2, or 3? So this is all going through my head and I'm looking at the forms, my brother-in-law Ray walks around the corner and he says to me, "Rob, there's another one." Don't even joke. I'm fucking emotional right now. Clearly, he wasn't joking. A few hours pass and we're trying to get into the neonatal ICU, or NICU as it's called, to see our now 4 brand new boys. But we kept on getting told for hours to come back before we can eventually see our boys. While our boys are lying in NICU fighting for survival, we realize that this is going to be the toughest time of our lives. It's then that Chantal and I decide we're going to take life one day at a time with no guarantees. So there we were, living our life one day at a time, celebrating each small victory, thinking if we could just make it through the first 2 weeks, everything would be okay. While all of this is going on, we're having a massive dispute with the medical insurance company over the payments of the hospital bill, especially for Daniel and Bradley, as both of them were born under 1 kilogram. I'm busy angry typing an email, and my phone rings. It's the NICU ward. It's the pediatrician. You need to get here as soon as possible. Nervously, we arrive on the ward. It was like a scene out of Grey's Anatomy. The doctor, all the nurses around the bed. We had been there a few hours earlier and everything was okay. But now, little Bradley was fighting for his life. The doctor looked up and over at me, and I knew it was over. We had lost one of our little warriors. We were given an opportunity to say goodbye to little Bradley, but then once again, we had to push on, one day at a time, with Josh, Justine, Danica, Scarlett, Daniel, Gabriel, and Harvey to look after. As we drove out of the hospital, that Wiz Khalifa song, See You Again, began playing on the radio. It was a fitting farewell to little Bradley. In hindsight, we've never really mourned his passing. Juggling life as preemie parents, work, loads of up and down trips to the hospital, 172 days, success, loss, 1 brain op, but our first mountain had been summited. We were all going to be home for Christmas. 2 years pass, we're searching for answers. A shed load of time next to a bed with Daniel, a second brain operation thrown in the mix, but what we got was very few answers. So one day, while we were chatting with our neuro physio, the UK comes up in conversation. I say to my wife, this is an option for us. A little bit of research, and 4 days later, the decision to move has been made. September, on a plane, a couple of weeks in the UK, bag myself a job, find us a place to stay. Back on a plane, I head back to SA to fetch the rest of the team. After I get back home, I receive an email from the estate agent saying, I'm returning your deposit. The landlord doesn't want to rent you the house anymore because Chantal is in a wheelchair. So there we were, October 3rd, 2017. We had finally landed at Gatwick Airport. Chantal, myself, Scarlett, the triplets in their 1.5 meter long buggy. Our entire lives packed into 11 suitcases, 8 hand luggage bags, and we literally had nowhere to go. And all I can remember was standing there thinking, where's the bus we hired? What followed that was 20 weeks of intense running around from specialist to specialist, doctor to doctor, which most of it was done flying solo because Chantal was at work. But we were finally going to get some answers. While all of this is going on, I get rushed off to A&E, admitted to hospital with the rarest of bone infections. Lying in my bed, knocking on death's door, all I can remember thinking to myself was, I have to fight to get home to look after my family. It's the eve of the boys' big revealed appointment. I'm discharged from hospital. I'm in a load of pain and I can barely walk. But the day was finally here. 30th of January 2018. We were going to get the answers we were so looking for. Your boys, all 3 of them, have profound cerebral palsy. My entire world started crashing down around me. My heart was torn into millions of pieces. I could feel the tears welling up inside. In that instant, I looked over at my wife and I realized I can't break now. I have to be strong. I need to be a pillar for my family. So I took a moment. I swallowed back the tears, the heartache, and I looked at the doctor and I said, so what do we do now? But once again, my family was sitting at decision of living life one day at a time, one day at a time.
Immediately, I burst into tears. I arrived with such high hopes, and it all came crashing down. How are we going to cope with 4 wheelchairs? It felt hopeless. But in that moment, I had to make the decision to never think that way again.
So here we are, living life one day at a time. Late nights, early mornings, very little sleep, loads of coffee, and with military-like precision, every day starts. Kettle on, coffee cups ready, cereal bowls, blend on the ready, and away we go. Next, I move on to the school clothes, bags, buggies, coats, as we ready the boys for the school run. And after a manic 2-hour-plus morning adventure, I can just sit down and breathe.
When all the odds seems overwhelming, impossible and hopeless, like me breaking my leg in 3 places and having compartment syndrome, and Rob and Josh having to cope for 3 months while I'm in hospital, we take it one day at a time. Rob and myself help each other up when it feels like it's too much, and we remind each other we take it one day at a time. But aside taking it one day at a time, we still believe in a purpose, learning, growing, and reaching our dreams while caring for our big, beautiful family. The Bible says, look straight ahead, fix your gaze directly before you. There is nothing you can do about the past, but you can choose to take it one day at a time, one day at a time, one day at a time. Done.